Hey guys, what's up? This is Alex, and in this video I'm going to be showing you the second of two plays that I took on APDN, or the second of two that I recorded anyway, on APDN. It's the only one pretty much from this day that I am somewhat proud of. It's the one that made me feel better about the day after having had so many sketchy trades. And this is only my second one of these videos that I'm making, but I do think already that it's going to be a regular practice for me to be first narrating the trade and then after showing you the live trade on its own without commentary. And I think by doing it this way, it'll give you the opportunity both to learn about how I trade and how I prefer to think about trading, but also to help you just learn about halts in general. I mean, I already have included a few lessons about halts within my recaps. Halts are something that I'm very familiar with, and it's where all my biggest winners of all time have come from. And my accuracy on halts is way better than my overall accuracy by almost 50%. So unlike my previous trade on APDN, the one where I got in at 824 and got out at 864, this one was very calculated. I had a really good idea in mind, well-defined target, well-defined risk, and I felt a lot better about this. And so in this one, you can see I have a starter at 1480, which was exactly the halt level I bought going into the halt. And I only took 50 shares because I wanted to risk off 14 and give myself a lot of leeway for, a drop back down out of the halt without getting stopped out. That's something I really wanted to avoid. And so I decided to have a wider stop and just add more aggressively going up if the resumption was as strong as I wanted it to be. And the back of my mind target on this one was 1750. But at the same time, I was going to be willing to ditch this one a little bit early if the tape looked weak and if we didn't get the support that I wanted to see. Now, one last note before I start this video is going to be the mid-halt price, which is visible right here. And I'll actually just put up a highlight, like a box or something, when I edit this. But what's important going into this one is that the price had gapped up something to like 1535 and then had pulled back and was currently showing a bit of a seller imbalance, which I did not like. I thought that was a little bit weak. And so that made it even more important for me to see clean resolution and a hold of the previous halt level. So as I hit play here, it's going to resume in 2 or 3 seconds, and you'll see what I mean by the hold. And it's exactly what I wanted to see. There's a big spread coming out of it right away. We hit that 79, there's a bit of a stall. And then right there, I don't know if you caught it, I'll back it up just a second. What I was looking for as soon as it resumed was for the spread to tighten up. I didn't like the fact that we were hanging low on the bid side, and I didn't think that we'd be able to get a strong surge based on this spread. And you can see there were quite a few orders going in between the spread, and I did notice that they were a lot closer to the ask price than the bid price, but I still wanted to see some better bid support before I added. And so what you'll see is a bidder pop up at 1530, and then I'm going to react to that pretty quickly, and I'm going to add a half position at 1539, catching only the shares that are there basically. So there's that bidder, and I just added, as you can see up on my trades window, at 1539, taking 25 shares. So by this point, what I'm really looking to see are ask orders being scooped up. I want to see green on the tape. And if I don't see green, I want to see that bid orders are followed by a big surge up. Any dip gets bought up. That's what I want to see. Additionally, if I'm going to add again, I want to see substantial bid support, and I want to see multiple levels. Like you can see right here, it's pretty thin. In between 1454 and 1554, there aren't too many orders. And at this point in the trade, I'm not really loving that. Even though I am enthusiastic about the push, I don't want to add further, and I don't want to get aggressive unless I see additional support. And so what's going to happen here, right here, exactly as I paused it, is there's this seller at 1580, and it looks like it's going to get caught up because there's some bid support here that came up at 1569. We did bounce up to 16, and a lot of ask orders got taken up. However, a seller came up here at 1580, and as you can see is when I resume the video, it almost gets cut through and then it stops. And all of a sudden we have all this selling taking place. Just as a reminder, on my simulator, the bid orders are purple. They're not red, as in most cases. And from that seller at 1580, the bid price just kind of drops. And at this point in the trade, you can see I'm actually red on this by $7.25 because of the add-on that I took. One thing I forgot to mention about the time when I added on, I reset my stop once again to the previous halt level, which was 1478. So at this point, my hard stop has moved up and my risk has been reduced to about 22 cents. So as I resume, you'll see there's a little bit of consolidation, hesitation at 1580. Coming up shortly, we drop back down to 15, hold for a second. There's a little bit of consolidation there. And now we're pushing up and we got all the way up past 16. And you can see that at this point in the trade, I just threw up a sell order for half my position at 1620. And this is a reflection of what I just talked about. I wanted to see bid support and I wanted to see multiple levels show up. And the only one that I could really see that was substantial was 1550. And I wasn't super convinced by this point that this would be enough. Even though there was a lot of buying on the ask, and you can see there's 4 orders above the ask down here, the bright green ones. Even though that is strong, this wasn't the kind of volume that I was expecting coming out of such a strong resumption. And so what I'm trying to accomplish with that sell order is 2 things. Number 1, I'm trying to protect myself against a drop back down so that I have a little bit of wiggle room if there's a sudden flash, so that if I have to sell my second half in the red, I'm not going to be red on the trade. And the other reason is because I thought if we go back down into the 15s, the low 15s, and consolidate there for a bit before skyrocketing again, then I have the opportunity to get in heavier at a lower price. And what you're about to see is a really historic moment, because this is officially the first time ever that I've ever seen a fill that does not take place on the bid. And I'm about to get filled for this order of 37 shares at 16.19. And it not only do I not get filled on the bid, I believe from what I can tell, and I've watched this video probably 20 times already. I've slowed it down, I've altered it in every possible way. And from what I can tell, there's no reason I should have been filled at this price level. The only way that this fill that's coming up makes sense to me is if it would have happened already and it wasn't being executed until a later time. So as I hit play, you'll see the ask is still at 1620, but the bid is way down at 1561. And then I hit play again. There we go. I just got filled at 1204.25. And so if we look on the tape right now, there's only 3 orders at that time, and the highest one is at 1608. So like I said, the only way that this makes sense to me is if my fill was based on one of the lower down orders, like here at 1620, here at 1619, or something like that. However, even though this does make sense, this is officially the first time that I've ever seen this happen. And this is based on hundreds of trades with Dash Trader, including probably 3 or 4 dozen halt plays. But let's get back to the video and continue going. And we'll see that after a little bit of trouble breaking 16 really comfortably, we do get a pretty strong push here coming up shortly. And at this point, there was a point coming up fairly soon. Yeah, right there. At this point, when bids came up at 1580, I really considered adding. The problem with that idea, and the reason I didn't take it, is because I couldn't figure out the number that I should add. Because if I just hit Control W, which is add half a position, I would only be taking 19 shares. And I didn't think, there was any way I could justify paying commissions to take 19 shares. And my only other option that I could execute that quickly would be 125 shares. And that would have brought my average up to a level that was not very comfortable. It would have brought me way too close to my ultimate sell target. And given what we had seen so far in this resumption, I didn't feel that that was justified. This was not a strong enough resumption to expect a really quick squeeze into another halt. By this point in the trade, I pretty much thought that we're not going to get another halt out of this. And if we do, it's going to be too choppy and I'm not really comfortable. So at this point, I was looking for the exit on the second half, and I was just trying to find the best place that I could do that. So I'm going to hit play again, and we'll watch as it creeps kind of slowly above 16. Again, the bids keep washing out there, down to 1542 for a second there. Now we're at 40. I mean, it's really weak. You can see a lot of selling in the tape on the bid, and even though they keep popping up, they keep getting washed out. And this is pretty much the point in the trade when I decided I'm no longer looking for a home run on this. It's just a matter of how good of an exit can I get and how quick can my reaction time be when the time comes. And so as we squeeze up here and the ask is at 1675, I thought that was good enough, and that if I could catch a bid order to flash up there and fill me at that price, I would be super happy. And so you can see up here on my orders window, you might not be able to make out these numbers, but I'll tell you it's the rest of the position at 1674. And so as I resume, you'll see there's a little bit trouble again on the bid side. And we're bouncing up, we're bouncing down, and right there I just got filled. I'll back it up a second. Oh yeah, right. So what happened here, it happens pretty quickly. What I do is I realize this 1674 is unlikely to get filled, and so what I'm looking for instead is to get filled at 59. I believe I reset it to 59. So it happens really fast. It's going to be tough for me to pause this, but this order that's up right now is at 1674, and then I canceled it and hit the bid as soon as I saw it pop up to 1560. And that's probably an important lesson to take away from this, is just how quickly the reaction times need to be if you're going to get involved with these types of plays. So that's pretty much it for this video. The only thing I want to say in closing is that both this trade and the previous one on APDN were technically failures. And I think that's a really important point, because the ROIs that I got on these two trades were still pretty strong. I got about 4.5% on the one from 824 to 864, and then on this one from 1480 to 1660, I got about 8.5% ROI. And so these are pretty strong numbers, and yet these are still both failures. I did not meet my target. I did not get exactly what I wanted in this trade. Both of these trades were just me failing to capture the bigger move, and in failing to do so, I ended up still with a pretty good result. And I can't stress enough that that's really a result of my experience level with halts and my comfort level with fast moving stocks and with big spreads and hotkeys. Almost more than all the other points is my familiarity with my hotkeys and being able to recognize a whole lot of different things that are going on in this trade. And this video that I shared with you now, this is one of only 4 that I think I've recorded, but I do have some other examples within my recaps. The only really substantial result that I both booked and recorded was on NXTC, which I guess technically was a home run, and that took place on November 5th, which is day number 21 in the simulator. So if you want to see that one, I did narrate it. It's embedded within the recap from day number 21. And even in that case, I was super hesitant. I did not hold through any halts whatsoever. And the reason for that was because it was already extended and it did not have a sufficient news catalyst. But I won't get too deep into that. I'm going to wrap this one up now. And stay tuned. I do have a playlist on my channel for these narrated live trades. And anytime it's convenient for me to do so, I will be recording these types of setups.